Welcome back to NewsMakers. We are with Jamie Gough, Yanni Johansson and John Durning. A gathering stream of anecdotal evidence would suggest scores of small and medium-sized businesses are teetering on the edge in Christchurch. Sydenham's Cross Brothers Butchery closes tomorrow. 9 restaurants have gone since the earthquake, and the Restaurant Association are warning without a bumper Christmas season there will be many more that will be on death row as well. In terms of this business interruption insurance, it's amazing how a lot of these kind of insurance policies, you really never know exactly how it's going to go until it's put to the test, and this has been a real dog, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Not only a dog, but because we've come through such a tough economic times, there is a particular business right beside where I am, and he cancelled his earthquake disruption insurance 6 months ago. And I know a lot of people have struggled with that whole sort of area of insurance and earthquakes, and then now they're having even more trouble because they're actually reading the small print and then it's not getting the support they thought they would be getting. Yeah.
Do you think people have been hoodwinked, or is this the case of you just got to check that fine print?
No, I think people had an expectation they would, in some cases, be okay, and they're not. I think you can't expect insurance companies just to pay out money willy-nilly. Of course, they're going to argue, and that you're going to have to justify your claims. But it's of real concern that the lack of government support and the lack of leadership, because while they were very good immediately after the earthquake with the wage subsidy, there are now stories coming out that the wage subsidy is being deducted from those that actually did have insurance, and so the government's basically paying the insurance companies as opposed to paying the businesses for that support. Now, there's 2 things I think that we need to do urgently. One, I've managed to get a resolution through council that we meet with our local MPs and the Economic Task Force to discuss business support. Clearly, it's not adequate and we need more. The other thing is, I think the idea of having the insurance ombudsman come into Christchurch and set up a temporary office to deal with these issues would be a very useful thing, because the insurance isn't just affecting in terms of those who have loss of business. It's actually for those that also want to redevelop or repair their building, who are having a big argument about the earthquake code that council passed just after the earthquake as to what level of financial assistance they should be getting.
Sure. In terms of this business interruption insurance, the thing which I find really, really rude is that, let's suppose I was a small business owner and I've got a shop in Manchester Street. Everyone else around me's on demo row. My shop escaped unscathed. I've had hurricane fencing all around my neighbourhood for the last 3 months. So to all intents and purposes, I'm open, but hardly anyone can get to me or wants to come and see me. How am I functioning? How am I possibly functioning in that situation?
In most cases, you're not.
Yeah.
And there's a number of businesses that I've talked to their owners, and we've been getting a lot of emails about them, and my heart goes out because in a situation like that, it's very unenviable. Going back to the insurance side of it, and I guess the dilemma that you face is that if we want to be the best country in the world with the government that is the best government that you've got, what would that best government do? I would expect that that best government would be there for those businesses in their time of need. But where the fine line that you're treading is, how far is turning a safety net into a hammock, and all of a sudden when are you going to be actually undermining an entire industry? Because all of a sudden the people that actually did bite the bullet, they paid a bit more, they had substantial business interruption insurance in place, they've been paying that, they're covered, and then all of a sudden you're rewarding the people that saved a few dollars and decided that they'd run that risk, and now all of a sudden they run that risk, they needed it, and the government steps in and helps them out. Now, I think the government should be helping out to a certain extent, but I find it very, very tricky, and it's an unenviable position to be in, to try and draw that line in the sand.
I have to disagree with Jamie, because actually a lot of businesses that had business interruption insurance are not going to get the support that they need to be able to survive.
Well, Cross Brothers is an example of a casualty.
And what's happening is, which the logic that business people have put to me, and I totally agree with, it's far better for the government to extend that wage subsidy up until the end of January or Christmas, so that those businesses don't have to lay people off, because the government is actually going to have a huge cost when those people end up on the unemployment benefit. It makes a lot more strategic sense to actually be helping those businesses now with cash to get wages paid, rather than have those people end up on the dole.
Do you think there is the prospect of hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs going down the road in the coming months as we face the financial aftershocks of the earthquake?
I think there will definitely be hundreds going down, because there are lots of businesses just holding on.
Yeah.
Businesses come through 2 really tough years, so a lot of the fat that they had, they haven't now got. So they just can't, they'll hang on and hang on, but they'll drift. You mentioned the restaurants, there'll be a lot of bars in that same that same area. I just wonder whether if the central city was a farm and it was a drought, how much support would be coming from central government.
Interesting, yeah. Okay. Just before we go to the break, very quick comment on the police pursuits, which has been a recurring theme in the news. Some interesting comments following the inquest into the Morehouse Ave crash, this multiple fatality crash. And Tony Jarvis, whose stepdaughter was one of the 6 occupants, said on ZB the other day that he accuses the police of adopting this attitude, quote, "Stop for us, or if we chase you, you will die." Is that reasonable from a grieving stepfather or completely beyond the pale? Jamie?
Yeah, I think you've got to bear in mind this is a sensitive time for him. He's just lost his daughter and he's wanting to blame someone. The statement that that he sort of implies that the police believe that if you don't stop for us, you'll die. Well, do you know what? It's actually quite correct, but I wouldn't be using that as a justification to argue that police shouldn't chase. If you're breaking the law or police want to signal that you should pull over, you damn well stop. And otherwise you could die, or some innocent people could die. And that's not the police's fault, that's the person that's chose to flee from them.
Yanni?
We need to review what's happening in regards to police pursuits. Clearly, I mean, if someone's not going to stop for a minor traffic offence and then you're going to end up with innocent people killed as a result of a police chase, to me that doesn't make any sense. So I think there's a level of where the police need to, I think, show a bit more restraint. Having said that, I think reviewing it would be a positive step. I am a little bit biased because I just about got hit in a police chase once coming out of my driveway where the police were driving on the footpath, and clearly to put innocent people's lives at risk is something that needs to be addressed, because I just think far too many innocent people are dying and getting caught up in it, and the loss of a life is a huge cost to our society that we should be trying to minimise.
Well, it's the people that are fleeing though that are causing it. I don't think the police just drive down the road willy-nilly. Do
you think the media have been unfair in terms of this? The police pursuit caused the death, as opposed to a fleeing driver caused this. Is the focus all wrong?
I think it has, because innocent people don't cause accidents like that. They just pull over if they are chased. It's the guilty ones that flee, therefore they are being pursued. I agree with Yanni in that. I think it comes to a point where the police have to back off their chase a wee bit sometimes if it is getting too dangerous. But I don't have a lot of sympathy for the person being chased who causes the accident.
Why are more and more young New Zealanders seemingly prepared to have a go and turn these situations into cat and mouse chases? What's going on with that mentality? Why is this becoming so commonplace?
Well, I mean, maybe we need to do research into that, Mike. If it's becoming a growing problem, then I would suggest some research into it would be a very useful thing to understand what is causing it. But, you know, when I'm talking about innocent people, I'm talking about the people that are innocent bystanders that just happen to be driving home from a day at work that get caught up with a car going through a red light and a police car behind it. Now, those people surely don't deserve to be suffering in the way that's happening at the moment. So I just think we need to review it. I think quite clearly,
it's continually reviewed.
With all the technology,
every time there's these...
with all the technology we have, you know, with cameras everywhere, we can always catch up with these people that are breaking the law.
But if they are a hazard on the road, how can the police be expected to turn a blind eye? People would go ape if the cops, for example, ignored this car on Manchester Street in July.
Well, there needs to be some discretion, and obviously there's cases where the police do need to chase for public safety, and I agree with that. The reality is that we've got a number of incidents in New Zealand now that I think warrant having a further look at it, because clearly something's not working and we need to address it.
All right, we'll take a break. More to come with our panel. Do stay with us.